Welcome to Sunshine Cathedral's Queer God Squad. It's Thursday, April 9th, 2026. I am Bishop Darrell Watkins, the senior minister of the Sunshine Cathedral. With me today are Bishop Robert Griffin, my husband, Reverend Dr. Ann Atwell, and Reverend Kevin Tisdall. We are the Queer God Squad. Visit sunshinecathedral.org to learn more about us.
Queer God Squad was created by Hotspots Happening Out to support our mission to explore the value of faith in the LGBTQ community. There is no streaming TV show like this in the entire world.
In 2026, we are celebrating the 41st anniversary of Hotspots magazine, with Queer News Tonight sharing over 11,000 stories and 11 million views so far.
We are the largest nonprofit LGBTQ media organization in America, and we encourage you to support our mission to inform, entertain, and educate our community and allies.
This is the Sunshine Cathedral perspective. South Africans disillusioned with Trump's America. In May 2025, the Trump administration began resettling white South Africans, primarily Afrikaners, in the United States after granting them expedited refugee status. The first group of approximately 50 to 60 individuals arrived at Dulles International Airport, where they were welcomed by U.S. officials. The administration justified the controversial move by claiming that the white minority in South Africa faces systematic racial discrimination, harassment, and violence. President Trump specifically cited a South African land reform law which facilitates land expropriation for redistribution as evidence of, quote, genocide and state-sponsored persecution against white farmers. The South African government has strongly dismissed these claims as unfounded and politically motivated, arguing that the land reforms are a constitutional effort to address apartheid-era disparities. While some farmers report genuine fears due to high crime rates, many human rights groups and observers have criticized the so-called white genocide narrative as a distortion of South Africa's complex security and social issues. Moreover, growing numbers of expatriates from South Africa are buying one-way tickets home, disillusioned by the violence, fear, and brutality in Trump's United States. Andrew Viecht, who left South Africa for California 2 decades ago after being carjacked, told Reuters he no longer feels safe in Trump's America. Quote, people are being shot in broad daylight. American citizens are being shot and killed, end quote, said the 53-year-old. He plans to return to South Africa this year, joining a wave of repatriations driven by disillusionment with the country that once promised security. I don't want to live in a place like this, Viecht said. Immigrants, BIPOC, and LGBTQ+ are increasingly aware that they may not be safe in MAGA land, and more people are learning the truth now as well. It should be noted that South Africa provides some of the world's most progressive legal protections for LGBTQ+ people, and is the only African nation to constitutionalize anti-discrimination since 1996, and to legalize same-sex marriage since 2006, 9 years before it happened countrywide in the U.S. Apartheid was minority rule, and it was, of course, racist. I mean, when the minority gets to be in charge, and how they ran things was by dehumanizing the majority, and keeping power from them. And so, of course, that was brutal. It was evil. It was unjust. And once it got turned around, they really did the work. They had peace and reconciliation conversations. They had these sort of court hearings that was about reconciliation and restoration, and not about shame and blame and guilt. And so people who were part of the bad stuff did own it. Yes, we were part of this. We didn't stand up against it. We benefited from it, and we regret that. People who had been hurt by it said, well, we thank you for taking responsibility, and we're willing to work through this, and we're willing to try to forgive you. And it was a deeply it was difficult and super mature way of getting reconciliation. And then out of that came a new constitution, which was so focused on justice and equity and fairness, is that it became the first constitution in the world to include protections for the LGBTQ+ community. So for that then, for the racist in chief in the US, decades later to say, oh, the white people, they're being done wrong because they're the minority and people treat them. And South Africa itself says no. The people, the rural farmers who were being abused by crime. That was indiscriminate. It wasn't just white people. It's about a difficult economy. It's about out of control crime rates. And so yes, marauders were attacking farms, and a lot of farms are white because a lot of people still have wealth that was built on the unjust systems. So yeah, the big farms are probably in the hands of white people, and so the criminals are attacking the farms, and a lot of the farms are owned by white people. But there is no concerted effort to go get white people. You know what I mean? So it was all a lie anyway, to just to stir racism and hate and fear, because he loves that mess. And now some of them are like, wait, yeah, our farm was in trouble, but it's no safer over here. You know, you might get shot in the street over here, or watch someone else get shot. And so yeah, it was just mean. It was just meanness and ridiculousness and prejudice that he like saved these 60 white people who are no safer here than there. No. And here, all that violence and what is racially motivated, and he's doing all that he can to stoke up white rage and white disappointment and white resentment. And so he wants apartheid. He wants the apartheid mentality, also known as the Jim Crow mentality. That's what he wants. He wants us to go back to like 1920, 1930, and he's working hard at it, and is way more successful so far than I ever thought could be.
Hello.
I think his want to be success on going back to that area is a lot of people are alive who still remember that area. And for some of them, it's still fresh in their mind, but also a lot of them, the hurt of that is still fresh in their minds also. And so I think that's why in America, we need to continue to fight all attempts to make America great again, because it's not what he is aligned with about making America great again. And this action that with the whole with Africa, it was about 50 or 60 people. That was just a pat on his back to show, see what I can do, see what I can do.
It was totally performative.
Nothing substance to that. How much more did we hear after that first airplane land? How many American taxpayers' dollars went to support that effort that is now a pointless effort, and people are leaving. So this is just like, let me see what I can throw into the kitchen sink and mix in to keep everyone distracted from the real issues that we need to be facing in America.
Well, he's kicking people out left, right, and center because he's just decided that, you know, immigrants are bad.
Meanwhile,
and then to bring in immigrants of European descent and make a big deal of it, that's just rubbing in the face of all decent Americans that, I'm getting us back to Jim Crow. No, you're not. You're just going to set a lot of things on fire. And one day we're going to put all those fires out, and your name will be synonymous with Idi Amin and Saddam Hussein and every other tyrant in the world. But it's you're not getting that back.
Right, and when people from other countries are looking at the U.S. right now and saying, you know what, I don't want to be here. I will go back to my country where I actually had it pretty darn good and didn't realize that. I think we really need to take a long, hard look. I don't anticipate that that's going to happen, but I think folks like us just bringing it up and talking about it, I think that's hopefully will make some kind of an impact.
I looked at how South Africa came out of apartheid, and it seems as though that country did so much the right way. They did not try to hide behind anything. They said, this was a terrible thing that happened. These are the things that we're going to do to make things better. And they're doing it. It's not done yet, but they are doing it. And this country, I think, can learn a lot from what South Africa has done. If we look, and we don't like looking at how this nation was birthed, we realize that there are so many different ways that we have harmed humanity that we have still not acknowledged. We began to do it, I think, a little bit with some of the civil rights legislation. Now, this administration is pulling all of that away. This administration is saying, no, we went too far to appease those people rather than to acknowledge this country's got a lot to atone for.
Yeah.
Got a lot to say I'm sorry about. And I think that until the United States finds a way to say with all sincerity, I'm sorry, let's move forward, we're going to continue to have these battles. We're going to 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. So yeah, I applaud South Africa for all that they've done. And I'm saying to America now, it's our turn. It's our chance. We have that ability, I still believe.
Germany, after their fiasco in the 40s, they spent the next 30 years teaching in high school how you can see, like, how did this happen? How you can see governments don't fall overnight, how you can see it coming. And so they were taught in school, all these, there's not a statue of Hitler anywhere. It's like, well, that's the history, but it's an appalling history. We're not going to glorify it in our parks. But teaching in school how it happened, how you can see it happening if it ever tries to happen again, so you can nip it in the bud. They've been seeing since 2016 us doing what they learned in high school to be watching out for. And they've been telling us, Germany's been telling us since 2016 what we were heading for. We're not trying to listen to anybody. And now they're saying, see, we told you. and you know, so maybe we'll at least listen to them about how you recover from it after it's over. But how they dealt with it was they were ashamed. They started teaching in their schools about how to never make it happen again. They didn't glorify it. You don't see any swastikas anywhere in Germany. So yeah, there's a lot of people who've done wrong and then worked to make amends. We've done wrong, but we've never got to the amends part.
That's it. And that's why we keep repeating and repeating.
Yes.
And that's today with the Queer God Squad.
Thank you for joining the Queer God Squad today. We are here daily at 3 p.m. to have some fun and to discuss what our LGBTQ community is talking about. Please like and share this and other episodes of the Queer God Squad.
Sunshine Cathedral is the world's leading progressive queer church. Progressive, queer, and God are words that naturally should go together. Remember that we are all in this together, and also remember that you are God's miracle, not God's mistake. Until next time, we are the Queer God Squad.